I welcome our viewers at the Red Line Show. Today we will discuss the latest events in the world. Today with me my colleagues Henry Keane, Serhii, and I am Dmytro. And today we will discuss the NATO summit in Washington, the 75th summit of the NATO. And my first question to you, my colleagues.
Sure.
What is your what was your expectation for this summit, and what and did they fulfill?
Well, actually, my expectation was much worse than what I received. I received all I wanted, what I expected, but it came as a surprise. I mean, I never thought that something would change the ways that a change of heart. Absolutely. Because I was expecting something to be talked about, something to be negotiated about, maybe some mentioning of some progress, maybe. And then, all of a sudden, we are on an irreversible way to NATO, which makes me fun and happy. But maybe funny and happy. So I'm in a state of a shock a little bit. I don't know why the American ways changed that way towards Ukraine, because I believe that what Biden says, it's irreversible. It is kind of irreversible. At least it is as irreversible as it gets these days. So I got all I wanted, but I'm still surprised. So if you want my emotion on that.
I don't know. As for me, this irreversible, this word, is kind of strange, because how many examples do you know when it was reversible? I can't
for
remember.
example, Georgia in EU.
Right, that's
it's very reversible.
But not in NATO.
Maybe, but
but it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if this is NATO or Europe. It's a big international organization, and if someone says that this is irreversible, it should be irreversible. But you're talking about more philosophically, nothing is irreversible. You can change all the things backwards, maybe. But I told you what I meant is what I told you, that it is as irreversible as it gets. Because if Biden says so, it looks like it is so. What my question is, in return, what do we do about it? What do we do? Were we ready to this?
For me, we're ready for NATO in
Like 2 years ago, yeah.
not too
Not too.
in 2008 when at Budapest summit when the door was closed for Ukraine. So not closed, but a little open.
Yeah, so not all of Ukraine passes, just squeezes through. So it's it is nice.
I think Ukraine was ready then. Moreover, Ukraine much better ready, much more ready since 2022, when Ukrainian army has the experience that not army in NATO has.
But it's very complicated question, because it's not only political will or something like that. It's infrastructure, for example. We don't know all things that have to be done.
I mean, not sure. So what? I mean, anyway, do we want to get to NATO or Ukraine? Let's be honest, guys. I mean, if this is irreversible, so we will never know all the answers. We'll never know all the ins and outs. So I think this is maybe like a projectile. We want to be there, and let's find out on the way. If it's irreversible, I think this is us who needs to make it irreversible. Because at the moment, people are, I'm sorry, but I knew someone in British Army, for example, called Glenn Grant, who says that Ukrainian army pushes away NATO, while the office of the president is trying to push it up, to pull it in. Because the Soviet system of the Ukrainian army sometimes pushes it away, because it's like, offers a NATO official 10 times talk. Yes, I'm talking to you guys in Ukrainian army. You are defending us. We understand this. But you need to change the ways just as well. You need to welcome NATO. You need to show them that they are welcomed here. You need to show that these officials are working for us, and to prepare a basis for the long-term friendship, if you will. So we need to start to be changing for NATO just as well, not just to change NATO for us. So we don't know exactly. So okay,
First of all, I must say that changing during the war is, for me, it's very complicated thing.
Oh, it's impossible.
Because you
Yeah.
you must fight in, and as I understand, the Soviet and NATO system of army is completely different,
Oh,
and
it's absolutely-
you must destroy.
Antagonistic. You couldn't just connect
So
one to
so
another.
so Ukraine must destroy all the army structure and then build the new one.
No, no,
but you couldn't destroy the old one because of war.
And,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
and this is an unrealistic plan to destroy at the beginning and then to create something new from zero level. Of course, these changes, they must be done. Oh, again, it's a very complicated question. How many post-Soviet armies we know that changed? For example, Poland army. They have some experience, and how can we use this experience of these post-Soviet armies in Baltic states, Poland, Hungary? I don't think.
Well, we can talk about
Romania.
Romania,
So
yes.
what are you trying to say is that we can take someone else's experience
Yeah.
and try to fit it into our situation. I think this is next even more impossible, because there will be only more answers, because then we have to go through two fences. First fence is the specific situation of that country, that experience you want to take, and then another specific situation of the NATO very moment that we're trying to get in, because we are changing. I agree, Dima, we are changing every day in every possible way, economically, politically, militarily, every day. We don't know, no one knows. That's the thing. But that's maybe even the beauty of the moment. Let's set up the new rules. Let's do our own Ukrainian way, because firstly, we survived. We survived even because of that post-Soviet army, because of the people wanted to have our own freedom and our sovereignty to be not shattered by Soviet Union. So we need to have our own new army. But let's start with the press officers maybe that can't talk to NATO. Because I'm telling you that 10 minutes talk and then think you go by to the West, that doesn't work.
Of course.
We need to invite them on a longer term basis, and that gives us a friendship, that gives us I know you, you know me thing that works in millions and billions and trillions of dollars that are going to be invested to Ukraine.
For me, one of the examples how Ukraine can change the system from Soviet to NATO is using NATO
Right.
ammunition.
Yeah.
Because when we get F-16s, we get all the instructions how we work with them. How we F-16s is not just aircraft. It's also radar systems. It's also reconnaissance. It's many things. It's not just
Engineering, maintenance, all of
yes,
sorts.
yeah, and I'm talking not only about the aircraft. It's also working of as I said, electronic warfare. It's working because F-16s working with electronic warfare. Why is F-16s is the fourth generation? Because they use not the radars
from the
radars from themselves, but radars from the earth. And when we, it's also interconnection between different types of army. And these examples we can then expand to the all army Ukrainian, to the Ministry of Defense. Because when we work in...
So you suggest we do it from the hardware. So we first take the ammunition, then we need the professionals to maintain it, and then we go on for
to the high
level.
Yes, because
it could be a solution
because
by the way.
we had political solution
Right.
about in Ukrainian constitution is writing that Ukraine passed through the NATO. So now Ministry of Defense is working on our accession to NATO. We're working from high to down, but
You suggest we do it otherwise.
we will do from both sides, because we were working from the bottom side, because Ukrainian soldiers, because Ukrainian mechanics, engineers, they are teaching, they are making the experience in NATO before going to the front line. Many of
in NATO countries.
in NATO countries,
Yes.
and they get the NATO experience, and they came this experience to the Ukrainian army.
But we can't, for example, take all our soldiers, officers, and so on, and send them to Europe to train there.
Well,
It's,
Europe,
but
Europe
too
doesn't
small
need all
number,
of our
I
soldiers
guess.
full of, and not actually too small. They can rotate, And I've been like when I was on the front line, I've been talking to people. They've been visiting Switzerland, Italy, Germany. They've been everywhere, and then actually their experience is very valued there. So they are welcome. They are welcome to NATO countries, and maybe I don't know. I'm not a strategist, and this thing is, but this idea that Dmytro just put on the table, I just love it, because what we do, we have hardware on billions of dollars that needs to be engineered and maintained and whatever, all sorts of things. We need professionals to do that. From these professionals, we need another professional. So from these professionals, we need politicians, and here we go. But at least that's the point to start, because what I say, it was just talking. We need to change our army.
Yeah,
Everyone
sure.
knows that we need to change the army. Show us the way. I don't know the way, but maybe this is the way, because this is something beautiful and very, very tangible, something that you can touch. This is the new modern, like, I don't know, Leopard 2. So you need a special team to do all it, to drive, to shoot, to maintain it, whatever. So you, when you have hundreds of these, and F-16s exactly, which is a very sophisticated machine and everything, so you need a whole bunch of people to be working with it. So maybe this is I think maybe this is a natural way how we change towards NATO. We don't even have to push. We just start with ammunition and arms. That's the way.
But
What do you think? Just answer the question in comment. Dmytro supposes that to change Ukrainian army, to make it closer to NATO, we can start with weaponry, with weapons and ammunitions. When we have it enough, like F-16s, we need engineers and mechanics that knows the thing, who knows this. And here we change the whole army, the whole structure, towards NATO standards. Please answer in the comments below. And you go ahead, also answering. I mean, I like the idea, I don't know, so.
I think that we forgot about the summit.
Yes, yes. I also want to return.
I knew you Serhii is always like that. I mean, we are flying all over there up in the sky and they said,
Yeah.
gentlemen, you forgot about the reality. And the reality is this summit in Washington. And we are on our irreversible way to NATO.
And its results. But we have some results. It's about aid, it's about patriots, and so on. But
That's
of
right.
course, it's so small
Yes.
in comparison with expectations.
Yes.
But
Expectations was invitation to.
No, not for me. I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting that at this very summit.
And in the Vilnius one.
No, I mean, it was absolutely clear. If we're getting to it, not this one and not the next one, for me. Maybe if that would happen, I would accept it as a miracle, really. Because I'm physically trying, to keep my expectations low.
Okay.
Because I don't have, and I think this is quite a professional thing to do for a journalist, especially in Ukraine. Because when you have no expectation, everything comes as a good surprise. But now, an irreversible thing is a good thing. Now at least we can
Of course.
consider thinking about what Dima says. Because like a month ago, it doesn't matter. I mean, it was like, no, NATO is somewhere over there. Now, I think it's like looming on the horizon. I mean, at least we see where we can get somewhere, and we can talk about the ways how we're getting.
some perspective.
Some perspective, maybe, yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think that really important solutions will be accepted during some summits. It's always behind closed doors.
Sure, but I mean, if we can't get there, at least here we see the results. We're not in that room, but we are like from the other side of the mirror. So, okay, how else I mean, what are we discussing here? Was it good or bad for Ukraine? Let's put it in this way.
It was good. I want to remind the article of the chief editor of European Pravda, Serhii Sidorenko. He wrote about the irreversible way. He wrote that this point in the communiqué is very important because this word was accepted by consensus of all member
Exactly.
all member NATOs. NATO members. And if, for example, in the next year, some politicians would
Will
like
try to play,
would like to push away Ukraine, to say that Ukraine, we don't need Ukraine anymore, but you had this word irreversible path. To remove this word, you must get the
Another communique. You have also
communique
everything
and
again.
consensus.
New
the main
consensus.
Consensus and consensus of 33 countries is very because there are always we had some Fico, some Orban. And
Some pizza, some Orban, or something. You know, it sounds like, you know, when coming to a restaurant and you say, "Can I have some pizza tonight?" Say, "No, sorry, we have only Orbans." You know,
Today,
Oh,
only
today.
Orban, yes.
But I mean,
so this irreversible path is very important.
yeah, exactly. I mean, but this is we look at the things that is turning for Ukraine. Things are turning for Ukraine very slowly. Yes, but they are turning. And we are fighting through not only militarily, but also economically and politically, just as I said, fighting through an enormous quantity of things that does not want Ukraine even to exist. So now we're trying to already have some basis to talk about how are we going to prosper, not only exist. We are talking in a real life, trying to discuss it with our audience, how we are going to of course, there are going to be all sorts of permutations and everything. There will be all sorts of difficulties. But we're really trying to take the concept of old Ukrainian army, let's not call it Soviet army, because it's not Soviet army anymore, but the old-fashioned Ukrainian army and turn it in some way to be at least commutable with NATO. And we are discussing it in a real life. We believe in what we say. And this is kind of new reality. I think we're on the peak of the history. And
So we can conclude that this summit wasn't bad.
yeah, it wasn't bad, absolutely, in terms of... Serhii, I 100% understand that it's better to have 5 patriots and then another
Of course.
5 patriots. But, I mean, we see the changes. That
Some global changes.
Globally changed. Ukraine is changing globally everything. Like UN, NATO, and everything. Like, if that would be happening 100 years ago, that would be a problem for a country, I believe.
I agree.
On the other hand, another expert said that this summit had one very weak point. This point is called president elections in the USA, because everyone knows that in half of a year the US politics can change dramatically. So this communique was some soft because of this unknown variable that we get in half
Well,
of
this
a year.
unknown variable is called life, you know, and everything. Have you ever seen? All right, this is the thing about American politics. There's only 2 political parties, but you can have a bagel with 25 flavors, you know, and that I don't know what's to call freedom, the freedom of choice, this or that. So I don't think the political system of. So what I want to say is the founding fathers of United States of America, as far as I understand it, dear Americans, were not actually very bothered about democracy or freedom of sovereignty even of state. What they bothered for, what they wanted for America is that there will be no dictatorship. And the Republicans and Democrats will be fighting each other forever. And this will be happening forever with Trump, with
Or without
Joseph
him.
Biden, or without Trump. Anyway, this is what Ukraine diplomacy would have 100% to be expecting. What is coming from America is that we don't know the next step. But some certainty is that the NATO, I mean, even the most rogue populists, when getting to actual power, they tend to de-radicalize. They tend to de-radicalize because they are getting to real, not just to real power and money, of course, this is a good thing, but they also, they are hit by reality, by responsibility, because now they have personal responsibility. And just listen to Marine Le Pen like half a year ago, and listen to her now. She's like an enemy to herself.
When we are talking about U.S. Politicians and policy, it's very important thing that Mr. President or Mrs. President in future maybe, this person can't ignore party.
Right.
So even if Trump win, he would.
He's not alone. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a big party. He can move. Yeah.
He have to listen party, and party they are not all populists.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So
But again, for example, on the example of
Go ahead.
Ukraine, on the example of Ukraine, we will get in 2025 14 billion euros, as I remember. Half of this, the half of this amount will get from USA, and if there are, if in the US will be some political crisis, if there will be political struggle, as it was in the beginning of 2024, then Ukraine will not get this money.
Yes.
And we saw that all that in the beginning of this year, and we saw that all the Europe awakening, all the as I remember, 2/3 of the countries reach the 2% of GDP in the defense spending. 2/3 of the NATO countries, at least now.
okay, so I mean, what is the question? I mean, I can't get it. So if we, what we're going to do if we won't get the money?
I'm going to say that we can't. We must understand that USA is the main player of the NATO.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Seriously, you can't break it to me like this.
Yes. And
oh my God.
Look.
But look, as we seen in the beginning of 2024, it was change in the field. Europeans, they all this aid that they gave to us when US was in pause, Europeans did much bigger in 8 questions. So I don't think that it's the main question. And in this reality, if USA again, they would play some these games about no, we give you or not give, Europeans will help.
But we all know that Trump said that he will end the war in one day, in a few days.
He said many things during his life.
What I can absolutely guarantee to you, Dmytro, that he will keep on saying things like that. He will keep on saying that, why not 1 hour?
1 minute.
Yeah, it's easy. He will call Putin, he will call Zelensky, he will call everyone who says, okay. Yeah, Trump, you know, Trump just called me. The very moment he becomes a president of the United States, he also gets the responsibility for that. Because we remember times when Zelensky pushed him to impeachment. It was Zelensky who did it. And this is called responsibility. Whatever you say, 1 day, 1 week, this is just an election. After he is elected president, everyone will ask him to stop the goddamn war in 1 day. And then we will be sitting here in Ukraine with how much patriots do we have here? And we'll just wait and see how that happens. Because, I mean, this is not the conundrum that he can solve, because he is trying to solve a conundrum like cutting the part of Ukraine and giving it to Putin. This is not the, I mean, I'm not actually envy any Ukrainian politician that is going to walk out right now to his nation and say that we have to forget about like 20% of our territory, even if this is a solution. And what about the people? What about the people that died?
But for example, Finland did this statement in 1939, 1940. They lost the 10% of territory to save their sovereignty.
I mean,
Dmytro, please. It was almost 100 years ago.
Different world, absolutely.
Yes, it was different rules of international diplomacy. It was time of totalitarian regimes across all Europe.
No, I mean, of course, but this is a time of where totalitarian regimes are opposed by a small country with a small army with almost none resources in comparison with Russia.
And without help.
And without help. And then help comes because Ukraine stand for itself. For first half a year maybe, well, all right, 3 or 4 months. But still, nobody cared about Ukraine 100 years ago. If Russia would take it would take it like this. I think so.
You don't know the Ukrainian history.
Here we go. Here we go. It never happened. And this is exactly why it never happened.
It was happened when Ukraine was a sovereign state in 1917, and all the Europe allow to Soviet Union to Soviet Russia.
See, now Europe is also changing. It's very slowly.
Yes.
It's timid. It's slow. Sometimes it's even bought by Putin. Yes, there are these kind of politicians in Europe just as well. Don't cut that out. But we're moving ahead. I mean, 2 years ago, this war is tragic. I know it. I've seen it with my own eyes. But it's because with this is where with my own eyes I can state that we are moving forward towards victory. I don't know how, don't ask me, but we are actually getting this bloody F-16s right now, finally. But 2 years ago, we were not even thinking about discussing this. This was rubbish. This was like fantasy. And now we are discussing Trump or Biden, how much we are going to get the resources. But nobody, it's over. It's not under any shadow of the doubt that we are going to get it. It wasn't any easier half a year ago. It wasn't. Exactly. I mean, this is what I meant. We have to learn, our diplomacy have to learn to work in absolute chaos, in absolute not knowing what is going to happen tomorrow. But one thing is certain, Ukraine is defending Europe, and Europe starts to understand that. Even if Orban doesn't want it, or Mr. Fico, or Comrade Fico, wherever. So we are Ukrainian journalists, and we will make the world to see the truth. We are standing for the safety of Europe, and this is exactly what is going on. No matter Trump or Biden. What about the Washington summit? We forgot about it again.
Yes,
right?
yes, and I also remind for me that we must talk about Washington summit.
All right, boring again. Let's talk about Trump.
One of the point that was for me at this summit that was what I was waiting. Is about NATO troops in Ukraine. For example, as instructors, for example, as infantry, as maybe some operators of HIMARS. It could be different ways, but there are not NATO troops in Ukraine. Will you await this decision in the next summit on Hague? And what do you accept from? What do you want from the next summit?
Okay, I will, and I'm actually expecting this. But I also want to very much, the next time I go to the front line, it's happening very soon, I'm going to ask my dear friends for some questions like, are they ready to put NATO instructor in their own structure right now? Like, in a month's time.
It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question because this is going to be hard. They don't speak Ukrainian and we maybe don't speak. I said, then start speaking English. Then find someone who speaks English. Then make the place for them. And this is not going to be a question in the NATO summit in Hague. If these people are going to be like, I mean, there are already international legion. They are Japanese fighting for us. They are Americans fighting and dying for us. Yes. Colombians, Chileans. I know them personally. I know these people. So if NATO says that some of them becomes an instructor, but he's already in Ukraine, he's already in Ukrainian army, and they're spread all over the army, here we go. There's nothing to discuss. It's already happening. See, this is how we make rules. We're not asking for, because there are no rules. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knew 2 years ago that this shitstorm would happen. But so we're living in a reality that is shaped by the one who dares to shape it. And so let's do it. This is what my idea towards, I mean, you're good at asking questions, definitely. I'm not very good in giving answers, but I'm trying to avoid it, as you can see. But that's one way. like to summarize what we said, has been said today. This is an absolutely brilliant idea to bring more hardware, more ammunition, and to find international, not just help, but professionals who work for Ukrainian government and for Ukrainian army, maintaining it. My idea is people find international resources that are already in Ukraine and make them like an ambassadors of NATO, even if they are not now. And then just say, these people are already there. You don't have to send anyone. Just make sure that they're officially recognized as NATO officials, and that's it.
Why we need the official recognition?
Well, we very much need it because of the 5 billion questions on international law that does not sometimes understand itself. It's a very complicated system that is going through also a very big permutation and very big all sorts of problems. So there are advocates, there are people that do not care about Ukraine, brothers. I'm sorry, they don't have to. We are the biggest friends of Ukraine because we are Ukrainian. Well, you are Ukrainians. I'm only showing off. But that's the thing. We're going through the enormous changes. And maybe we can keep asking questions how we do it, or just do it. Because the action has nothing to do with smart people, actually, and too much brains. We have these people, it's not me, definitely. So we have these people to work on that together. But acting is definitely about us. I think we can take a responsibility and at least start acting. It's about acting. We have to find a way and do it. If this is the wrong way, we choose another way, because there's simply no other way to go forward. And I'm sure that we will be NATO, not maybe shortly, but NATO is a big structure. It is. All right? And people have their own problems. The people have their own, like, financial, economical, and everything. And Ukraine comes out as a problem. We need to come out with a goddamn solution for them. So they say yes or no, but there is a ready solution. Not like, what are we going to do, Trump or Biden? And Americans are like, we don't know. We don't know ourselves. I mean, we're in a state of a shock, a little bit, because there are two people making debates, and the total age of these two people is like 200 years or something. And I mean, but that is what democracy is about. That's freedom. That's the unknowingness. That's when you're not certain about something. That's the cost of being free. A dictatorship is very easy. The Kremlin says, the people do it. I mean, that's what is going on in Russia. But I'm sure, sure, yeah.
Kremlin said to die in Ukraine. They die in Ukraine.
Yeah, but that's crazy. That's crazy. That's a totally different question. Yeah, and they just go die in Ukraine. But why, they don't even know. After
They don't need it.
They just need to die, right? That's what it
was.
It looks like that.
Just
like
try
a hero.
just try to live in Russia. I think after this...
Yeah, Sergei, thank you so very much for this proposal. I'll think about it later. This is why
it wasn't proposal.
I'm not going to live for long in Russia, spend like 2.5 years on Ukrainian state television, so that much is clear.
But maybe we will do Russia as a part of Ukraine.
See? So I'm telling you, no one cares about summit in Washington anymore. We are making Russia a part of Ukraine.
Not Ukraine a part of NATO, but Russia is part of Ukraine. It's a point.
I mean, are we really filming this? I mean, that could be interesting. But and what next?
And next, China part of Ukraine.
Oh my God. Okay. So do you think we need to stop to change the theme? But guys. Ukraine is a part of NATO. This is the question that is seriously discussed in the world, in the highest level, and it is very, very real that in some foreseeable period of time, it will become a reality. And when it becomes a reality, the question is, are we ready for this or not? So I suppose that we are starting to get ready ourselves right now with your idea, with my idea, with all the ideas that Sergei keeps in mind but never tells us about. But still, so we need to move forward, and then when the time comes, we're already somewhat ready to this. And then we offer a solution that works.
Okay. We are going to work with these solutions and propose to our government, to the Western governments, to our colleagues, and to all our audience, because today I think it was not all about summit, but it was very interesting for me, for example.
It was nice.
It was Henry Kin, Serhii Kulias, Dmytro on the Red Line Show. See you soon.
Very.